Ichiro steps in. He takes a strike at 93 miles an hour. Ichiro slaps it foul on the left side, and it's quickly 0-2. Ichiro has faced Hamill 4 times, and he has 3 hits against Jason in his career. Last night he was 2 for 5 and had a stolen base. Kind of an average day for Ichiro at the park.
Yeah, really. I mean, it's just what he's able to do with the bat, able to bunt, slap the ball, utilize his speed.
To me, the amazing thing, George, when you watch Ichiro, is how he can fly out of the box, and his first step is right down the line, yet he covers the outside corner.
Long arms. That's why. He's got a very long swing with his bat, so that allows him to do just what he did right there. I mean, if it's a ball that's elevated above the knee area, he'll hit it into the air to loft it to that side. If it's a ball down in the strike zone, then he usually tops it or just very little of it.
Well, he's now reached in 43 straight games, which continues a career high. He'll be followed in the lineup this afternoon by Russell Branyan, then Adrian Beltre, who's had a big series. Jose Lopez tied it up in the 8th inning last night at 3 with a 2-run home run. Junior's in there again, then Betancourt, Quiroz, Gutierrez, and Vargas. This is Russell Branyan. So Ichiro naturally a threat to go. He's got 10 stolen bases. He's been caught 4 times. Ionetta has done the catching in all 3 ball games in this series. The heck with day game after night game. Chris is back there.
Yeah, he has a little time off rested. Let's take a look at Ichiro's swing one more time. That's what Drew's talking about. Look at everything pulling out of the box, but look how long the swing is. And the pitch, a little bit above the knees, allowed him to lift it into the outfield.
Big swing and a miss on Branyan. It's 0-2.
Now that looked to appear to be the changeup at 85 miles an hour. About 8 to 10 was what you want in a velocity differential off the fastball.
It's a pitch, George, he was utilizing some ball games early on 2-3 times. That's it. And now lately, during this terrific 4-game stretch where he's 3-0 with a 397, he's been employing it 15-20 times an outing, and he has plus stuff. He has a better than average fastball, and the hook he has, George, how would you describe that?
Well, it's just straight over the top yellowhammer, and I'd give it about a 65. I mean, particularly when he stays on top and drives it. I think the big key for him is to utilize the leverage of a 6'7" body and get the good downward plane. When he does that, everything's down in the strike zone, velocity's up.
1-2, and you start to wonder if Ichiro is going to take off there.
Well, I think
thinking the same thing.
Well, I think sometimes early in ball games, base runners get over because of the water on the field. It's freshly watered at the start of a ball game, so sometimes it's kind of gumming. So early in games, sometimes you don't see him steal as often as you will that second time through the lineup as the infield starts to dry out.
Not going, and that pitch blocked by Chris Ionetta. It's 2-2. Now, Russell Branyan has had a breakout year. He's been in the big leagues for a while because he's like Paul Bunyan. He can hit the ball as far as anybody in the game, but a 230 career average, usually accompanied by a ton of strikeouts. He still strikes out, but he's hitting 320 this year. His on-base percentage is 422. Try and become just the 4th Mariner to hit 300, have an on-base percentage above 400, slug above 500. Right now he's slugging well above 600. Junior did it a couple times.
The key is he's getting to play. And I think with all the other organization, he was kind of the fix-it guy, termed as a 4A player. A little better than AAA, not good enough to be every day in the big leagues. And then somebody would get hurt and then a guy would break up, and then it comes up, you'd have 2 good weeks and then get exposed a little bit, sent back down again. Never got the opportunity to play every single day, and he's getting it here in Seattle, and the numbers reflect that.
There goes Ichiro on the 2-2, and it's fouled off. It was Johan Santana going today for the Mets, wasn't it, George?
I thought Johan was pitching today.
His number's up on the board, and the reason I asked that, it was Santana. Right now, it's 13-0 Yankees in the 5th inning, 6th inning now. Maybe somebody jumped in Johan's uniform today. Swung on and missed. 1 out, big strikeout by Hamill. Ichiro stays put at first base, and that'll bring up Adrian Beltre. Let's take a look at our Fidelity scouting report on Hamill.
Well, I think, again, we've talked an awful lot about this, but the curveball where he's been able to utilize this thing in the middle of the plate just did it against Branyan to go along with this pitch here. This is the one that's going to make the difference at home at Coors Field. All the numbers starting to settle down. 3-3 with a 4.33 earned run average for Mr. Hamill.
Coming off a win in Milwaukee. That pitch misses. Rockies won 3-2. Hamill went 6 innings, allowed 2 runs on 5 hits, walked 1, struck out 5.
Well, the one thing I've noticed with Adrian Beltre so far in this series, if you get into this area here, he's going to hurt you. If you stay into this area, you reduce a lot of his power and the ability to get after the baseball. As that ball ran right back into the middle of the plate, Iannetta had squared up the outside corner of the plate, but because of velocity, he didn't have a very good swing at it.
Ichiro is moving to count of 1-1 right now on Beltre.
Think about this, 1993, folks, that was a long time ago. He got his first home run against Hideo Nomo in Japan. Ichiro has been playing for a while, yet his body, his speed, his arm, everything has stayed exactly where it was from his entire career, basically. All the weapons that he has, and that's due to the fact that he takes extremely good care of himself.
You know what, George, it's a great point because none of his skill set has diminished at all. He's still got the howitzer of an arm. He still runs exceptionally well. He still throws out 200 hits a year.
I think this is his 17th year in the league. You know, you're thinking about it because of the big leagues is basically over in Japan where he was playing.
On the ground foul. Oh, ball and 2 strikes. Let's take a look at the Rockies defensively today. Ryan Spilborghs is in left field. Dexter Fowler in center. Brad Hopp in right. Garrett Atkins, who's had great success against Jason Vargas, is in at third base. Tulowitzki and Barmes, of course, up the middle. Helt, Iannetta round out the infield. All that brought to you by Toyota. 1 ball, 2 strikes on Adrian Beltre. 3 hits yesterday, including 2 doubles and an RBI single. Well, he's hit very well in June. Joe Mauer has hit very well since coming off the disabled list, and he's hitting for more power than he's ever hit before. Hamill and Iannetta getting together.
Well, and again, this could be a situation where Chris may be thinking about pitch out with Ichiro at first. He's tried to go twice in this inning with 2 different batters up. You're ahead in the count, 1 ball, 2 strikes. You know, you want to make a pitch to get the out, obviously, but maybe you can make a pitch that you get 2 outs with 1 pitch. In other words, a catch and throw, too.
Punch through the right side of the infield for a base hit. Ichiro is going to get to third base. He made a good pitch, just a bad result. That was not hit very hard. Barmes was playing Beltre to pull, so he shaded way up the middle.
Well, let's look to see where this pitch was. I mean, it's right on the outside corner, right where he wanted it, diving down and away from him. Sometimes you tip your hats to the hitters. He just kind of punched that thing through the right side where there's nobody playing. Ichiro had to let it get through. And then, folks, that tells you something about Ichiro's speed, too. That ball wasn't hit very hard, but he had to hesitate to let the ball get through. And then off to the races to third base.
Good base runner, too. Not just a fast guy, but a guy with the ability to get a read off the bat. And he never hesitated. Obviously, he's picking up Bruce Hines as third base coach, but he realized that Hopp would have a long way to go. Lopez takes inside, ball 1. Now, Lopez is a dangerous guy. He hasn't hit for much average, but He's always produced a fair number of RBIs. He leads Seattle in RBIs right now. He has the quickest hands of anybody in that Seattle lineup. So you want to work him away if you can.
Well, the one thing about it, too, he leads their club grounding into double plays with 13. Beltre's second at 12. Nobody else really close. So 13 double plays he's hit into this year. Get him to hit the ball onto the ground, your chances increase dramatically.
There goes the runner. Ionetta's going to throw through. They make the tag safe.
When it came up halfway through, what Barmes had to do on that play was get in front of the bag, because if they're running a double steal to respect the speed of Ichiro. Anytime you throw through, you're thinking and looking, and if you look back on the replay, watch Barmes out at second base. You may not see it here, but he is well out in front of the bag. See how far he is out in front of the bag. The one thing, that throw's low, all right? So watch him look on this ball. He's going to go for a tag and look for a tag, but quickly glance to the third base area. 7 stolen bases now for Adrian Beltre. He's been caught twice.
So Don Wakamatsu being very aggressive early in this ball game, trying to help out an offense that struggles to score.
Well, the fact, too, Lopez has hit into 13 ground, double play balls, too. Put the runner in motion, stay out of the double play, maybe get a run out of it.
This ball's hit the center field. Fowler is going to pull it in. Ichiro will score easily. The throw's going to go in the direction of third to keep Beltre at second. 1-0 Mariners on the sac fly by Lopez. Part of pitching, George, as you would know, is minimizing damage. You have Ken Griffey Jr. now at the plate. Give up a run in the inning, you can live with that. Just make sure you don't give up multiple runs.
Yeah, you don't have a crooked number up onto the board where you make a mistake and you got 2 runs in a gap and a guy at second, Griffey coming up. Now it allows you the option to go at Griffey hard, or go, and if not, if you get behind in the count, pitch around him a little bit and then go after Bentoncourt.
And that's where this lineup really thins out. Not to show disrespect for Yuniesky Betancourt, but typically in the American League, a Betancourt's not hitting in the 6-hole.
Not with 2 home runs and 19 RBIs.
And Junior Tardy, they have picked off. Beltre is going to get to third base.
Right, and the reason why behind that, Drew, is defensively the way the Rockies were set. You got Griffey up, who's cheating on a fastball, he's pulling. And what happens is, Atkins was playing where he is now. He's basically playing over here. Now watch, he was even more steps towards short because to set up defensively. It allows you to get a bigger lead. See how the walking lead was? Now as soon as he sees it's thrown, it's a foot race between Atkins and a runner out at shortstop. Well, he's going to win that race because of where Garrett was playing defensively for Ken Griffey Jr.
Smart play by Beltre.
No question.
Here's the 2-1 to Junior, and that's in there, 2-2. Let's take another glance at the positioning.
See how far off he is? So, I mean, he's there defensively for this. Ionetta makes that snap throw down to Tulowitzki, but, by the time you do this, there's no chance to have the play at third base. And, of course, if you're sitting at home and you're a Seattle guy, what am I going to gain from this? Well, ball in the dirt. I mean, there's 2 outs. I understand this. But if a ball happens to get by Ionetta, if Hamill has a tendency to throw the ball into the dirt, all these things are scouted. And everybody's aware of those situations. Hamill with only 2 wild pitches on the season in 54 innings. That's not very many.
3-2, and it's fouled off. Junior yesterday was 0 for 3 and a walk in the ball game. He's never faced Jason Hamill before. Back-to-back starts in left field, a place he had started only 1 other time in his wonderful career prior to last night. And it's pulled to second. Easy play for Barmes. In the inning, Seattle created a run. Came around on a sac fly by Jose Lopez. Fowler. In today's ball game, we are participating in the home run challenge. Today, every home run in the game raises $15,000 for prostate cancer research. All about keeping dad in the game. Next Sunday, of course, is Father's Day. Major League Baseball has done this over the last several years and raised literally millions of dollars. The way you can participate, make a pledge by calling 800-798-CURE or go online to PCF.org. PCF.org. So every home run, $15,000 in the name of prostate cancer research. And thanks in advance for all of your contributions. Drew Goodman, George Frazier at the ballpark. Dexter Fowler leading things off in the bottom of the first against left-hander Jason Vargas. Deep short. Betancourt sets his feet. Long throw, and the scoop is made by Russell Branyan. One pitch, one out. Let's take a look at the Southwest batting order for Jim Tracy's club today. Fowler will be followed by Clint Barmas. That's become a staple in the Rockies lineup the last couple of weeks. Then Garrett Atkins, the cleanup spot. Brad Hopp, Ryan Spilborghs, Troy Tulowitzki's hitting 7 in a row. Then Chris Iannetta and Jason Hamill. Vargas has faced the Rockies before, but not with a lot of success. He has an ERA like a bowling average against Colorado. 1 ball and 1 strike on Barmas. He was just inserted back into the rotation, George, about a month ago, and prior to that, his last start in the big leagues actually came at Coors Field July 3rd of 2007 when he was pitching for the Mets. Last year, he was out for the year with hip surgery.
Had a torn labrum in the hip. That's the third one now that you've heard about. Delgado, then Alex Rodriguez, of course, this one. Guys tearing the labrum in the hip. I'd never heard of that before. Now a couple of starts, what Drew's talking about, 19.06 earned run average. Obviously, you don't want to write home to mom about that one.
2-2. And that's fouled off.
Twice he's missed his target. Those balls have been up and away, but on both times they've wanted that ball down and in, not up and out over the plate where he could handle it. Try to steal a few signs here for the viewers at home. See where they're trying to work it. As for the slider, going to try to throw it on that back foot.
And that didn't work out. He left it out over the plate, barreled to left for a hit. So Clint Barmas is aboard with 1 out for Todd Helton. Check the Fidelity scouting report now on the 26-year-old lefty Vargas.
Now, a couple of guys tell me that the fastball runs 86-91, the slider 78-83, curveball's more of a show-me type pitch. And when he gets in situations, need ground ball outs. A lot of times he goes to this pitch right here, the changeup, because it has late fade and seam to it. You can see where he likes to work the fastball inner half and up on right-handers, and he'll try to do the same on lefties. But he's not somebody that likes to work to the middle half of the plate a lot, or middle half back. Nice fly ball out to left field. Junior, no chance. How about that catch by Beltran? Man, oh man.
That's how you win Gold Gloves. So Todd Helton fouls out to Adrian Beltre. That is a long way to go, George, for a third baseman.
About 120 feet. Drew, they'll look at this defense. You talked about Gold Gloves. Here's the defense for the Seattle Mariners.
Well, Junior's not going to win anymore. Gutierrez covers great ground. Ichiro speaks for himself. And you see the infield, Betancourt, Lopez up the middle.
Look at this. I mean, he goes all the way over there, not knowing a ballpark. He doesn't play many games here, although he's with the Dodgers. And yet he never lost sight of the baseball, tracked it all the way in, and made the catch right up against the railing.
Garrett Atkins is 3 for 4 in his career against Vargas with a couple of home runs.
Kind of happy to see him come in the yard. Sent a limousine to the hotel to pick him up today.
Here's the 1-0 to Addy, and it's in there for a strike. You know, it's funny when you have success against a guy, or probably the other way also, if you don't have success, you remember every pitch the guy threw.
No question. You remember it, and you remember there's pitches I can remember throwing to guys 30 years ago that you just stick in your mind a little bit. Uh-oh. A little bit of a lean and tilt out of Barmas.
Outfield straight up, fairly deep for Garrett Atkins. Here's the 1-1 outside. Jumper's a little better against lefties. This ball is in the air to center field. Gutierrez makes the catch, and it is a successful first inning for Vargas. He gave up the base hit to Clint Vargas. That's it. 1-0 Mariners.
With really good starts here in the ballpark. And then the old guard, I think looking back at Helton Hop, both these guys have carried the ball club. Some of the young are starting to do it, and you know what? They're starting to believe. Reading what Todd Helton had in the newspapers today, expecting to win every ball game, believing they could do what they can do, and believing they can win ball games late in games, and picking each other up. It's been fun to watch.
Betancourt lines the first pitch to short, one gone, and that'll bring up Guillermo Quiros. Catcher steps in at 273. No home runs, couple of RBIs. Kind of a mentality, George, to pick up on your thought of pass the baton. And you don't want to be the guy to drop the baton. Jason Hamill knows that the starters for 10 straight, he's been a big part of it. He started the streak.
2 of those.
Yeah. The starters are on a roll. They're giving their club an outstanding chance to win every day. You don't want to be the guy to drop the bucket. 2 balls and a strike. And I also think it, on a personal level, George, it's an important start for him. Going back to what we discussed in the Open, he's been so good away from home, but this is his home yard. He don't want to carry an 8.5 ERA.
No, you don't want to. Here's going to be a line drive out of the reach of Tulowitzki into the gap in the left field. Go ahead, stretch it to 2.
Yeah, no,
don't think so. Trying to entice him a little bit. He couldn't hear me yell go, 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 so maybe they could snatch him.
The thing here, George, is he remembers he wears shin guards for a living.
There's only a couple of those guys that can run that do wear those shin guards. Well, here's the numbers Drew's talking about. 0-2 at home, 853 out on the road, seven games, couple of more starts, more innings, but a 3-1 record, 2.06. I think what you have to realize, and it gets into pitchers' heads, the ballparks do, and trying to have that success, is you were in one of the best hitting ballparks in America at Houston, and you pitched great. I mean, guys love to hit there. The ball flies better there than it does in this ballpark.
Gutierrez takes high, ball 1. Crew chief Gary Darling is calling balls and strikes today. We'll set our umpiring crew. There's Gary. Bill Hahn at first, Bruce Dreckman at second, Paul Emmel at third. And Gutierrez lifts it to center field. Dexter has a beat on it. 2 outs.
Well, we talked about these ballparks that have changed so much right now. Camden Yards, Angel Stadium. A lot of that has to do, they got some pretty good offensive teams. Coors Field at 283, the Metrodome, Rangers Ballpark. Typically gives up an awful lot of long balls in Arlington, 274 overall average zone, but not a lot of separation there.
I just wish, listen, this is a great place to hit. I just wish that the national pundits, the national commentators, and even regional broadcasters like ourselves, when they come in, just do a little bit of homework. It's not like Coors Field, everybody hits 800 and everybody hits 40 home runs here, and every place else is 2 steps below that, even the quote-unquote good offensive parks. There are parks that relinquish runs at a high level that are not named Coors Field.
Well, here's the thing. Let's look at home runs around baseball. Which ballparks give up the most home runs? And it's pretty simple when you start to break it down. Do you see Coors Field anywhere?
Yankee Stadium. Would they? I mean, they're talking about
by
a lot now.
By a bunch.
Rangers Ballpark at Arlington. And Camden Yards, Citizens Bank in Philadelphia. You know it's a bandbox. And you know what's not on there? And part of the reason is Adam Dunn's not there. Junior's not there anymore. Cincinnati's a much bigger home run ballpark from a home run factor now than Coors Field. Well, Vargas with a base hit. Now, he swung the bat at Long Beach State when he wasn't pitching. He played with Troy Tulowitzki one year there. And it's not surprising that he got the fat part of the bat on the ball. He's a good offensive player for a pitcher. So now they're 2 on, 2 outs, and Ichiro at the plate. Vargas may have been more excited about hitting today in a National League park than getting out on the hill. That is a foul ball. Yeah, George, you look at Ichiro, that's a good shot of, you know, the arms a little bit. You know, he looks so lean. He is some kind of strong.
Oh, he's terrifically strong. I mean, this is, you got to understand something. There in Japan, when you first start playing, it's not show up at the ballpark, take a little BP, and play the game. They go from 8 in the morning till dark, and it's exercises about the first 4 or 5 hours, stretching, lifting, everything else that you would think to get you prepared for the games. That's why so many Americans go over there and have a difficult time adjusting to the workload of not just playing a game of baseball. And it's a 12-month process.
How about the pitchers? They throw and throw and throw.
And none of them get hurt. Imagine that.
2-strike count on Ichiro. Singled to left and scored a run in the first, and he's gone here. Good block by Iannetta. He's going to have to step back and throw to first. Very good pitch at a critical time for Jason Hammond. So it's a 1-run game. Brad Hopp will lead it off in the second for the Rockies. Feed your Rockies fever at Taco Bell. If the Rockies score 7 or more during any ball game, go to Taco Bell the next day between 4 and 6 in the afternoon. Get 4 tacos for $1 with the purchase of a drink. Here's Brad Hopp stepping in against the left-hander Jason Vargas. Brad this year, left on left, he's hit .308. I think it started for Brad late in the '07 season. You know, we're talking about that 11-game run. Remember, Brad all of a sudden just started clicking against lefties. The big home run left on left in San Diego in extra innings.
Yeah, Thatcher was the guy.
Yep, Joe
gave
Thatcher.
Up the home run dead center field.
And it continued last year, and now he's in just a great place. Righty, lefty. Move the rubber up 30 feet, he's still going to hit you, right?
Well, he's just seeing everything so well, I think, coming out, believing in his stroke, believing what he needs to do to have success every time he goes to the plate. And he understands. This is one thing I've always admired about Brad. He never gets too high and he never gets too low. He stays in that even keel throughout the season because he understands it's a long season. He understands he's going to have horrible at bats some days. But yet he knows tomorrow's another day that he's got a chance to do some damage.
Well, it's like you said about Lou Brock. You asked Lou how he was doing. The hand went straight across.
That's right.
You told that story a lot.
Yeah, oh yeah, straight across. I'm doing fine. Not too high, not too low. Handling what's presented before me.
1 and 2.
Plus, there's certain guys in the game that are naysayers, and people write in the papers, oh, he's done. He can't hit left-handers. He can't do this. He can't do that. And it kind of gives a little bit of a prod into a major league hitter or pitcher to a little more incentive to go out and show those people how wrong they really are.
I think anybody with the right character inside at any level, whether it be business or athletics, you tell somebody who's competitive they can't do something, they're going to do everything in their power to prove you wrong. Here's the 3-2 fastball, and it's ripped to right center field. Ichiro trying to get there. It's going to roll all the way to the wall. Brad's got himself a double, and just for a moment he thought about a triple, and he realized, you know what? 2 bags is safe right here.
Well, there's
so
nobody out.
Double.
Nobody out. Strong arm in right field. He got some decent arm strength at second and short. Why go out and take the gamble and force it? Yeah, you might have made it, but there wasn't no reason. There wasn't a reason to do this. Ball down low, the inner half of the plate. Hop just reached out and smoked it on the Hyundai cam. Boy, just everything works together, but the hands constantly stay back. And with his strength and the length that he has of his swing, this is why the ball carries so far for Brad Hopp. I mean, his shoulders are very wide, folks. Wide shoulders, throw hard, and they got power. Little scouting tip for Mr. Jacob in here. Watch a guy with big wide shoulders. They typically throw pretty hard. Big wide shoulders, they typically have pretty good power.
Spilborg's trying to stay back, drive the ball the other way. Move the runner, fouls it into the upper deck on the right side. Philly at 258. Now look at some of these averages, George. And guys have 2, 3, 4 years in the big leagues. You know what they could do. And even though the Rockies won 10 straight, I think this is a great sign because Spilborg's isn't going to hit 258. It's too good a hitter. Tulowitzki's not going to hit 243. This ball pulled in the hole, base hit. Brad around third will get a stop sign from Richie Dower. First and third, nobody out with Tulowitzki coming up.
Well, history tells you till you get to the back end of your career. In other words, when you're 38, 39 years old, those numbers don't level back out again. Their fastball just center cut, belt high for Spilborg's able to jerk it into left. Right through shortstop, and the respect Richie Dower still has for Ken Griffey Jr. His arm maybe not as strong as it once was, but he still charges the ball extremely well. You're in the bottom of the second inning. No reason to force 2 issues and have a bad result come out of it.
So Tulowitzki steps up. Troy last night went 1 for 3 and a walk. He's got a 7-game hitting streak. And he takes a strike. The outfield is deep and straight up. And the infield is shortened up in the middle, looking for 2. Tulowitzki against his former college teammate. And this ball is lifted to right field. Ichiro settling under it. Now he's coming in, and Hop's going to come down the line. Ichiro's throw is on line, cut off, throw to second. Safe there.
You know, I'm not sure why Branyan cut that ball off. That didn't make a lot of sense to me because it looked like it was right on line to the plate and a strong throw by Ichiro and Wright. I'm not sure. And you get noise in a big league ballpark. Your catcher is the direction guy when he's talking about cut or let it go through. Hop forced that issue on him to make the play, and this is kind of the aggressive attitude the Rockies have taken. But look again where this ball's at. And watch how Ichiro, fundamentally sound, prepares with all his momentum coming in on this ball, and then he just lets it fly and airs it out, and really don't see a reason why that ball got cut.
George, that would have made it to the catcher, Quiros, on the fly.
Exactly.
And you're right, that was dead on. I'm not saying he would have had him. It still would have been close, but Rockies will take that decision. Spilborghs heads up, moves to second base.
Well, two aggressive moves. One, obviously, Hop coming to the plate. The other, on a ball that wasn't hit that deep by Tulowitzki. Then the throw by Suzuki allowed Spilborghs to get into scoring position.
This will be an interesting at bat for Chris Iannetta, who has a tremendous eye and typically does not venture out of the strike zone to swing at a pitch. He doesn't expand much, but he's hitting in the 8-hole. There's an RBI out there. You have a pitcher on deck who's looking for his first hit of the year. And it's 2-0. Quick peek into the dugout from Quiros to his manager, seeing how they're going to play it. That sacrifice fly for the Rockies was their 27th of the year, which leads Major League Baseball. Now think back, Rocky fans. Remember last year the Rockies went the first month. I think they finally got one toward the end of April. I mean, they went forever without a sac fly. Last team in baseball to produce a sac fly. In fact, at the break last year, they had 21 sac flies. A year later, 2.5 months into the season, they lead baseball with 27. And that's doing little things. That's part of execution.
Absolutely it is. Well, plus the aggressiveness. That's what I liked about it. They're being very, very aggressive with what they're trying to accomplish on the base paths, and sometimes too aggressive. I mean, Tulowitzki was thrown out a couple of times at third base, trying to push the envelope. But for me, I like seeing that because now you're just pushing it harder on the defense. You make them make either one or two perfect throws to be able to complete the out. Every now and then they'll throw one in the seats and you'll steal a run too.
Ripped to left, but it's going to hang up for Junior. Got it maybe, George, a little toward the end of the bat. And initially you thought that had a chance to drop. So Iannetta is an out. And that'll bring up Jason Hamill. 2 gone. And the go-ahead run at second and Ryan Spilborghs. This would be a good time to come up with that first knock, huh? Ground ball to first. They'll have to wait. Rockies get a run. Brad Hop a leadoff double. Troy Tulowitzki plated him with a sac fly to right. One apiece. We'll go to the third. offers, and more. And by Taco Bell, think outside the bun. 1-1 baseball game, Seattle and Colorado as we go to the top of the third inning. It'll be Branyan, Beltre, and Lopez, 2, 3, and 4 to face Jason Hamill. Rockies last inning tied it up on the Troy Tulowitzki sac fly. Russell Branyan struck out in his first at bat. Jason Hamill loved to have a quick inning, not only because quick innings are great for starting pitchers, but he's thrown 39 pitches through the first 2. I want to get back online. Breaking pitch misses, ball 1. During every Sunday home game, FSN is teaming up with ColoradoDads.com for the Be There for Your Kids baseball experience. And we're going to introduce you to a young man here in a moment who's joined us in the booth. On the ground to first, Todd Helton's got velvet hands, and he makes the play. 1 gone. Well, we have a question from Brendan today. Brendan, how are you?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing very well. First of all, how old are you and where do you live?
I'm 13. I live in Centennial, Colorado.
Okay, very good. That's just a couple years younger than George's.
Not much. Just a couple.
You play baseball?
Yeah, pretty nice view up here, huh?
I used to.
Okay.
Used to? You kind of like the view up here, what Drew and I have all the time?
It's very good.
Is it very, would you like some coffee or water?
That'd be great.
Would you want some fruit? Drew likes fruit. I like hot dogs, but I mean, I'll give you whatever you need.
Thank you.
Huh? Make it as comfortable as we can. Absolutely. Well, you and your dad, John's here with you in the booth. That's kind of nice. He's come in, stop in, back up, watching the ball game here on a Sunday afternoon. So what was the question you want to pop on Drew and I?
Who are the better pitchers in the minor league for the Rockies?
Well, you know what? There's a bunch of them. The Rockies have had some pretty good drafts. I think the one guy that jumps out at me is a kid named Ismael Rogers. It's had 5 out of 6 very good starts for Tulsa. He struck out 10 last night, went 8 innings. There's another kid there, Julius Shashin, is down in AA right now. He won 18 games in the minor leagues. He's one that jumps up for me. There's a kid in AAA. There's 2 of them actually down there, Johnson and Heineck, that are a couple of guys that they're contact type guys. And one that's going to be here, and I think be here maybe by the end of the year or at the start of next year, is the #1 draft pick from a year ago, and that guy named Christian Friedrich, a left-hander. He'll run the ball up to 94, very good curveball, slider, change, mix. Very intelligent kid. His dad is the dentist for the Cubs, if that means anything to you. Probably nothing.
No, not really.
Not really. Yeah, me either. He's got his braces on, Drew. I don't think he likes dentists.
Well, you know, he's been to the orthodontist already. The last thing he needs is another guy.
Yeah, that's right, to work on him a little bit.
Right? There you go. Now, the Rockies are starting to put some pretty good arms together. One of the nice things about Ismael Rogers' ball game last night for Tulsa, George mentioned the 10 strikeouts. This is another thing I love. He didn't walk a soul.
Well, that's been a big emphasis in the minor leagues, not to walk guys. Make them beat you with the ball. Put the ball in play. If you give up a hit, you give up a hit. And I think those are the type of things you're looking for. It's too quick an inning. It was.
Yeah.
Well, you got your question out. I hogged the mic and answered it for you, but we enjoyed having you up here in the booth. Hope you enjoyed the ball game today.
Sure did. Thank you.
All right, that's Brendan Parker and his dad, John. Guys, enjoy the rest of the day.
Thank you.
Ball game tied at 1 as we go to the bottom of the 3rd inning. The Rockies have flipped the lineup over. And here's Dexter Fowler. Shortened up as if to bunt, or at least put that in the mind of Adrian Beltre. And Vargas is pitching there for a strike. Rockies a run on 3 hits. Barron has a run on 4 hits. And also a strike, so it's 0-2. George, I just was reading a little bit more about our little program here with Be There for Your Kids, ColoradoDads.com. Did you know that next Sunday is the 100th
how cool is that?
Anniversary of Father's Day?
Yeah, that's something.
Yeah,
I was reading about that a little bit earlier. Next Sunday will be a wonderful day at the ballpark, and it's the last day of the homestand for the Rockies before they head out on the road.
And you know what you can do also? Head down to City Park in Denver, 10:30 in the morning next Saturday and Sunday, as Fowler gets dismissed, and give Colorado Dads a celebration worthy of 100 years. And for more information on that, go to ColoradoDads.com. One out, Clint Barmas coming up. Let's get it down to Mark Stout with this afternoon's Mike Shaw Auto Update.
All right, thank you, Drew. You were talking about big leaguers in America going over to Japan and play, and one of those that did that is none other than the Rockies manager Jim Tracy. He was over in Japan in 1983. He had played with the Cubs and got traded to the Astros, and he told me Danny Heat and Terry Poole, some guys like that were there. He was a left-handed hitter, so he didn't have any room on the Astros roster, even though he had a great year at AAA when he hit over 300, 12 homers and 100 ribbies. He went over and played for the Taiyo Whales in Japan and loved it. The first year he hit 19 home runs, over 300, and then he got injured. And he said that injuries over there are a little bit different than here in America. And what he did was he had an...
This ball's hammered. Hold on, Mark. Short hops the wall. Barmas going to have himself a double. Go ahead. I want to hear the rest of this.
Yeah, this is a good story. He was reluctant to talk about the injury he had, and he injured his thumb. He was a left-handed hitter. He would cut the thumbs out of his batting glove so that he could hit with a splint on his thumb. Like he would cut the thumbs out so that he could hit. It didn't work. He ended up coming back from Japan, but he said he loved his time there. His 2 years that he played for the Taiyo Whales. So he knows all about the Japanese ball players there and coming over to America, guys.
That's a good story, Mark, and it's not surprising. Jim Tracy's a guy that, you know, he reads, he loves to learn about new things. An interesting man. Todd Helton fouled out down the third base line his first time up. He had a go-ahead single in the 8th inning last night, actually in the 7th inning. And the Rockies took a 3-1 lead. Ended up scoring 2 more in the bottom of the 8th to win the ball game 5-3. Houston Street got the save. I asked Todd, George, before the ball game about Vargas and said, you know, I'm trying to remember his stuff. He goes, I got to sit down and watch more video. Part of the process of getting yourself ready. It's not just taking the ground balls and the BP and the stretching, and plenty of stretching for Todd to get his back ready to play each day. It's also going over scouting reports and looking at video, seeing what guys do in different counts, trying to read their movement, right?
Absolutely you are. You don't know what the arm angles, where the arm slot may change on a breaking ball versus on a slider curveball versus a changeup. Does he show the changeup on the backside coming out? Can you read the ball? I mean, there's a lot of different things they look for. And it's overemphasized. It should be whenever you haven't seen a guy a whole lot. Signs again with a runner out on second. A lot of times they'll use second, third. Sometimes they use what they call a 2-5 rollover. Hey, Rockies fans, get your power tickets. Well, what's a power ticket? Let me tell you. You purchase a midfield box ticket at a regular price, you get $10 to use for concession at no additional charge. The diamond deal is only available online at ColoradoRockies.com. So make a move to do that. Jump onto the computer. Here's something I asked a minute ago. With the College World Series going on right now, Arizona State's playing North Carolina. They were leading 1-0. But I asked, and they did a lot of work for me, down in the truck, and I appreciate Sue and Sam up here in the booth. Florida State with 10, the most players playing in the major leagues in 2009. If you look at this, Nevada, Georgia Tech, LSU, Oklahoma with 8, Stanford, and UCLA.
I buy into every school up there. I'm shocked. I would never have put Nevada in that grouping. And
I would not.
And then it's not UNLV. That's
right.
What they used to call Nevada Reno.
That is a surprise. You know, Fresno with the team last year that won the World Series, College World Series last year, has a few players out there, but not very many. Hop with LSU.
You know what? I would have put LSU up there. I'd put Georgia Tech up there. The team I'm shocked it's not up there. The school that I'm shocked is not up there is Southern Cal.
Well, Southern Cal and Arizona State.
And Arizona State. Yep. Two and two on Helton. Barmes a double with 1 out out there. Quiros has gone through his signs a number of times, and he's going to go to the mound. George, you mentioned the 2-5 rollover with a runner in scoring position at second base. Explain exactly what that means.
What it amounts to, guys, is you're looking at it in at your catcher. He could give you the same sign every time, but it starts with that sign. In other words, 2's a curveball, 2, 3, 4. He could keep flashing 2s. We'll go on camera here.
This is a bullet up the middle. Base hit. Barmes around third. He'll score easily. Rockies have a 2-1 lead. 17 coming through again. 45 RBIs for Todd Helton. And the Rockies lead the Mariners 2-1.
Now just left the pitch out over the plate for Todd Helton. That appeared to be a fastball above the bell on the Hyundai Cam. You can see this. And when it does, he's able to take it right back up the middle with Vargas follow through. Throws across his body. Falls hard third base side. No opportunity on a hard hit ball up the middle. Barmes able to come around and score to make it a 2-1 ball game. The Rockies now with 5 hits. Seattle with 4.
Todd, George, now has 23 RBIs in his last 23 games. And get this, folks. He is producing RBIs at the 3rd best rate of his career.
What Drew was talking about on a 2-5 rollover, folks, you look in and you see the number 2 down by a catcher and you just count with him. Starting here, 2, 3, 4, 5, and it rolls right back to 1 again. So if he went 2, 3, 4, 5, 2, or 1, it's a fastball. And then he just gives you a sign. So what you do is you eliminate a guy sitting out on second base starting to count with you all the time. Helton thought about it. He'll go back to first. So what it amounts to, a lot of times guys will use second sign. So if they go fastball 2, 1, 2, 3, it's a curveball. But what I always like to use is a 2-5 rollover because you just count with them. It's real easy. And it's the last sign given is what you're going to go with. So it's like 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, curveball. The last sign he gives me is the pitch I'm going to throw.
This ball pulled to left, base hit for Atkins. Helton is second.
But the nice part about that from a pitcher-catcher standpoint is you can use any number you want. You can say 3rd sign I give you, 2nd sign I give you, but you're just counting with them. It's, as far as the base runner's looking in, he's seeing the same exact sign every time, but he doesn't know if you're doing 2nd sign, last sign, 3rd sign, 4th sign, or whatever. And that disguises the sign away from them.
So it's 5 after the 2nd sign.
Right. It's just going 2, 3, 4, 5.
But you want to make sure it's not always the last sign, though, correct?
Well, you can move it around. Yeah.
No, what I'm saying is if you always stopped when you got to 5,
right,
or if the pitcher, as soon as he got that sign, went into going into a stretch, then you're starting to pick it off.
But if you're using the last sign that you're giving as the pitch, that's when you come set. The last sign. So if, in other words, the last sign I flashed to you is it. This is what we're going to do. Now you got to run on 1st and 2nd now. See, now he's doing the touch signs. You don't know if that's signs or if that's direction of where he wants the pitch, and it could be 1st or 2nd touch. I mean, there's a lot of ways to do this to decoy it to the runner on second base. So watch when he starts to touch. See where he goes with it. And you can try to follow a pattern of what he's doing. See, this time he touched inside, outside, chest protector, mask, and then he's going through his signs. The thing is, the signs may be meaningless, or the signs may mean something. That's all part of the decoy. Slider away there. Slider was given 2nd pitch there. The touches, a lot of times, are location of where you want the pitch. Got to figure it all out. And having an ex-catcher as a manager helps a little bit too, obviously. You know, some guys used to do even odd on the board, Drew. You know what? I got too much stuff going on to be looking at the scoreboard going every pitch, even and odd.
Right.
You know, if they want to steal the sign that bad, they can have it.
I've also heard
I want to stay right here.
Outs +1.
Yeah, well, no, I'm not adding and subtracting when I'm on a mound. Now, one thing that Sutcliffe used to do, and he got it from Don Sutton.
That hit him? No?
No. And what he used to do a lot was up above, if I wipe with my glove above, it's added. If I wipe below, it's subtracted, or vice versa. So you may give me a fastball and I want to throw a slider, and if I'm adding above, I swipe twice, go from 1 to 2, 3 slide.
Brad behind 0-2, 2 on, 1 out. Rockies up 2-1. And Hop is a strikeout victim after doubling his first time. So there are 2 outs. That'll bring up Spilborghs, who singled to left an inning ago. Two strikeouts for Jason Vargas. Spilborgh's in last night's ball game as a pinch hitter, and he walked. May have been looking for the off-speed pitch there, breaking ball. He was a little tardy on the 88-mile-an-hour fastball.
Yeah, but you know what? A lot of times when it's 88 and it's elevated like that, it can have better results because the ball just gets by you quicker.
And Vargas able to strike out Hop and Spilborghs with 2 runners on. But in the inning, the Rockies got a double from Barmes and an RBI single from Todd Helton. They lead it 2-1. '87 draft, first overall. Since then, who's the only other first overall pick the Mariners have had? That's a pretty easy one for a Sunday. I want everybody to be back at home feeling real smart.
That was quite a while ago, though.
It was a while ago. I can give one enormous hint, George.
You don't have to give a hint. You don't have to give any hints. Just let people go.
Hey, Frafe, there's that changeup to Junior. 0-2.
Outstanding. Look at Junior, man. 21st season he's played the big leagues. 50 home runs twice. 7 times he hit 40. Just a phenomenal first ballot Hall of Famer, Ken Griffey Jr.
Can we still call him the kid?
Well,
see you later.
Yeah,
that's a yellow hammer. What's that, George?
That's a yellow hammer. That is a snapdragon right there. Man, oh man, a bottom just fall right out of this thing. Junior fooled by it. He's just hoping, because of the location out here on that outer half, he's just hoping this thing drops out of the strike zone so he doesn't get rung up.
3 punch outs for Jason Hamill. Yuneski Betancourt lined to short his first time. And that pours over the outside corner, 93 miles an hour. What the Rockies have in their rotation is something they've really never had before. The guys that pitch on the back end usually play for Tulowitzki. Hamill, De La Rosa, stuff-wise, are not back-end rotation guys.
No, the only thing that prevented them from being successful at the big leagues is consistency throwing strikes. And now all of a sudden they're doing that and the results show up.
You know, a lot of teams, the guy who starts toward the back end of the rotation, maybe in the baseball vernacular, a little short on stuff. You know, he doesn't have an overpowering fastball. Well, he doesn't have a swing and miss pitch, and he's got to get by on guile and guts, and there are going to be days where things don't go well when he can't locate. Well, a guy like Hamill and a guy like De La Rosa, who are mid-90s guys with good secondary stuff, they don't fall into that category, Frage.
No, but here's the thing that really separates a guy from me that's a 4th or 5th starter. Your number one's going to give you anywhere from 200 to 225 innings. Your number 2 guy is going to be 190 to 215 in a rotation if you're a true number 2 guy, and you're going to win some ball games. Your number 3 guy could get to the 190, 200 range, and most 4 and 5 starters, as Drew mentioned it, but most 4 and 5 starters are going to be in the 150 to 170 range, because they're the guys that get passed over on starts when there's off days. They're guys that fill in the bullpen when they're not doing the start. But right now, Mr. Hamill's throwing like a number 1. It's 2-1 Rockies. 3.5 through it.
Coors Field, visiting with the home plate umpire, the crew chief Gary Darling, and as George said to me and often does, is that's never good.
That's never good when you see an umpire visiting with the grounds crew, because they're telling you how much time he basically has before it hits. And Raz has had to fight the rain the last 3 games here at Coors Field, and then today after the Rockies game, it's always exciting. A little soft tapper, going to be barehanded by Beltran. Got it. It's the top 50s game. here in Colorado of high school players that get to come. And Dan O'Dowd's son Christopher will be a member of that, drafted by Oakland late in the rounds. They will be playing, hopefully, after this Rockies game today.
Yeah, you talk about soft hands, George, on the glove side typically. How about
there's Dan and his son Christopher. Excuse me, Drew. Christopher going to Dartmouth, going to play a little baseball, but he'll be in that top 50s game right after this Rockies game.
In the air to Ichiro. Chris Iannetta will be the second out of the inning. I'm going to say that play by Beltre. Talk about soft hands. How about the soft hand that you throw with? That was quite a play.
Yeah, it was.
If your windshield's chipped or cracked, please call Colorado's #1 team, Elite Safelite Auto Glass, 303-287-5000, or visit safelite.com. I think the Rockies saw the clouds coming. 2 first pitch swings.
Yeah, late night. Yeah, I mean, that's it's usually when you get a big lead or something like this going, and even now, obviously with this, who's ever winning, it's amazing how quick they can swing at pitches. The guys that are losing, it's how many shoes they got to tie.
There's a first for Howell. That's his first hit of the year. He's got himself a double.
Yeah, I got a fastball up. Sure enough, he just extends out on this thing, drives it down the right field line, right by Branyan. It just looked like an airplane going by him down into that corner, and Hamill able to scoot into second with a couple of outs. Well, if you're looking for a great place to entertain, Coors Field, this is the spot. They got great suites, party facilities, picnic areas, offer a unique atmosphere designed for any event at any budget. Make sure you also ask about the buy one, get one free on the suite offers. 303-312-2444.
Ball 1 on Dexter Fowler. Ground ball to deep short and a strikeout.
Well, not only his first hit, but
it's his first ever.
First ever base hit by Jason Hamill. That'll be sent up to Keith Schultz. In the clubhouse, Tommy Reynolds receiving the baseball and hanging on to it. There's Schultz.
Outside, 2-1. Help to tell him you just got another couple thousand and change to go to catch me.
Yeah, it reminds me of a great story. He just stepped off. He said, the whole dugout in St. Louis one day is just riding Pete Rose. And he's hitting, of course, and we're out in the field. So the dugout's got 7 or 8 guys plus some pitchers, right? And Roger Freed, who you played here in Denver, a lot of the people who followed Denver Bears remember Roger, big home run guy. Pete comes over, and there's a timeout call, and he yells into the dugout. He goes, I got more hits than the entire dugout, so shut up. And everybody kind of looked at each other. You know he's right. He's got more hits out than anybody.
That closed down that conversation.
Yeah, that's right. And Kenny Boyer was in our dugout as a manager, so, you know, obviously he's gotten a few hits in his career.
Ball 4, and Clint Barmas will come up. 2 outs, 2 on. Barmas line single, line double in his first 2 opportunities against Jason Vargas. That's what I talk about in Week Visit about George a lot. Guys are going to reach their career averages. Last year, Barmas hit 290. He was down in the 220 range. Guess what? He's up above 290 again. Swung on and missed. And that's where you look at the Spielborgs, who's a career 300-plus hitter. Tulowitzki, much better hitter, obviously, 243. Chris Iannetta, far better than the 219 average he brought in. That bodes well as the summer approaches.
There's no question. And I think that's something that people need to realize, that hitters typically do come back to that career number at some point and then maintain it. Some years they're going to be 10, 15 points higher. Some years they're going to be 5 or 6. But when you move Clint Barmas to the 2-hole, everything jumped up. Think about this: 83 at bats, 361 average, 11 extra base hits, 14 RBIs, and he has scored 12 runs.
Once you establish a baseline, you usually are visiting somewhere in that neighborhood. He's a little bit out front there. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Vargas tried to get him on a slider On the back foot his first time up, he left it over the plate. Barmes ripped it to left. And he's ahead in the count here. Let's see how he works it. Hamill at second, Fowler at first. 2-1 Colorado, 2 outs in the fourth. Came in on him, and that's a danger zone, especially, George, when you don't have a plus fastball.
I agree 100% with you, Drew, and I think the only thing that benefited him not getting off on the pitch was because it was a velocity-wise. In other words, he's come inside a couple of times, but it's been 86, 87. That was at 90. So about another 4 to 5 inches quicker onto the hands. Kind of surprised Barmes.
And he got him with a fastball. So Clint goes down swinging. 4 innings in the books. Dark clouds overhead. The Rockies, though, it's all sunny in their neighborhood. They're up 2-1. FSN is brought to you by your Colorado Hyundai dealers. Right now, buy any new Hyundai and get up to $5,500 in savings. America's best warranty and the Hyundai Assurance Plan. By Geico, 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Visit us at geico.com or call 1-800-947-AUTO. And by Comcast Digital Home Phone Service. Warm up to unlimited local and long distance. Call 1-800-COMCAST. 0-1 the count on Franklin Gutierrez, the 8-hole hitter for Seattle. And that's in the air, foul and out of play. 0-2 on Gutierrez. And I think it's starting to rain because some folks are in mass are heading up the aisles. Well,
they put a big sign on the board in between innings, too, just to alert them that we're under a tornado watch at this time. And of course, obviously, living in Oklahoma, I'm kind of used to that. That was like an everyday occurrence. But with a lot of other people, it can alarm you at times, and I think probably here, obviously the fans, some of those have started to move out of the stadium with the sprinkles coming, plus the tornado watch.
Well, that is strikeout number 5, George, for Hamill, and he struck out 3 of the last 4. And oh, by the way, he has retired 8 in a row. He gave up a single to Jason Vargas, who's at the plate. Since that time, he has retired everybody in the Seattle lineup, beginning with Ichiro. So now Vargas, the former Long Beach State dirtbag, comes up. And I'm sure Troy Tulowitzki told Hamill before the game, hey, you know what? A former college teammate can swing the bat. In fact, he hit .354 in 2004, garnering all Big West Conference honors. 5 home runs, primarily as a DH. He went 7-4 on the mound with a 4.14 ERA. 3-0. They're treating him like Babe Ruth now.
Well, and sometimes too, as a pitcher, you know that you can see these clouds and you see what's going on. You just saw a sign on it, so you start to hurry a little bit. You want to get through this half inning because then it would be a done game if they happen to call it because you played through 4.5. And the visiting team had a chance to hit in the 5th inning. So it's important sometimes you start to rush things a little bit.
On the ground, a second. 2 outs. Let's get it down to Mark Stout with today's great Colorado Payback sideline report. Mark forgot his umbrella today.
I've been wet before down here. Hey, Jason Hamill, that hit that he had, that was not his first base hit in the big leagues. 2 years ago, interleague play with the Rays. I talked to him about this. I said, you got a hit? He goes, yeah, I swung at the first pitch I saw from Livan Hernandez. He doubled off the wall in Arizona, knocked in Johnny Gomes in a game that he got the win in relief of Edwin Jackson, who came out of that game with an injury. And I talked to him yesterday about hitting in the American League compared to the National League for pitchers. He said, you know what, in the AL, we might have took a few swings a month leading up to interleague, as Ichiro has one up the middle. He said, it's nothing like here in the National League. And George, maybe you can talk about that at least. They did hardly anything in spring training in the American League when he was with the Rays, but he had one at bat with Tampa Bay and had a hit, and now that's his first hit as a Rocky.
Yeah, I mean, we never hit.
Yeah.
In the American League, of course, we didn't have interleague play at the time, so you didn't worry about it. But, yeah, you just never hit. When you got traded, it was the first thing that happened. You go to the National League team, can you hit? Oh, I hadn't hit 4 or 5 years. What are you asking me for? You know, I mean, guys would want to know that. Managers would. Can he hit? Can he not hit? Particularly with starting pitchers.
Russell Brannon's 0 for 2. He fouls his bat.
Well, that's all right.
Got to be extra careful here with Brannon.
You know what? That's all right. We got Schultze on air. He got the baseball. Everybody's happy. And, oh, by the way, it's your second base hit. Maybe you didn't get the ball on the first one.
After the game, they'll just tell him, hey, just looking at your swings this year, we assumed it was your first. We're only kidding, Jason. Worst pitcher swing, George, I've ever seen. Byung Young Kim.
Well, that and Al Leiter wasn't real good either.
No, he was not a good hitter. Be the first to tell you.
Yeah.
0-1 on Brannon. Ichiro at first. I got something for you on Ichiro, George. You realize that going back to last year, in his last 48 road games, he has a hit in 47 of them. Think about that.
Amazing. Just an amazing hitter. That's why a lot of people think, you know, that he will get 3,000 hits. He just signed, what, a 7-year contract or 8 years that he's going to play. I mean, it's wild. He's locked up for a while in his contract. So I think that's one of the things people look at. I think also that the number of hits that he could get come pretty close to it. I'm not sure how many he has now. I'll look it up here in a few minutes in a Mariner uniform. I know a lot of people were talking about the fact that, you know, he would get 3,000 hits in the combined league. You know, what did I thought about that? And I was asked that numerous times. Well, you know what? Japanese major leagues, not the major leagues over here. It's 2 separate leagues, so I don't think you should be able to add them together.
No, but he's going to have, in my mind, a Hall of Fame U.S. resume when he's done. There goes Ichiro, and it's pop fouling out of play. You know his number? He's
had 1,892 hits as a Mariner.
You know his number he wears, George? 51. Do you remember the last 51 in Seattle?
Yeah, I think his name was Randy.
Yeah. Center field deep. Fowler going back. Still going back. And he makes the catch. Dexter with his back to the wall. That'll bring a smile to your face. It's a 415-foot out. 2-1 Colorado. And the game's official. Here's Ichiro. He's part of the Geico quote of the day. He is the Geico quote of the day. On his biggest adjustment to American life, I'm eating a lot more pizza for lunch than I'm used to. And here comes the rain. Helton takes ball one. The game, as I mentioned as we went to break, is now official. What a wonderful catch by Dexter Fowler to keep the Rockies in the lead. That's a base hit for Todd. Lopez couldn't get there. Todd's 2 for 3. You know, you think about it, that catch by Dexter kept this a 2-1 ball game,
no
because
question.
you know, Ichiro flies at first. There's 2 outs. So it's not like he's waiting.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, and that's the thing you run into. There's a catch he made deep up against the wall, and what he was able to do. And again, that's just the defense has to play a role in it all the time.
Garrett Atkins, a line single his last time up to left. This is fouled off down the third base line.
Follow the Colorado Rockies on iPhone and iPod Touch with MLB.com. It's BAT 2009. It's the way to do it, featuring the play-by-play, the real-time box scores, and video highlights. Visit ColoradoRockies.com on your iPhone or iPod. There's your iPhone, folks. iPod Touch to purchase now.
1-2. Talking to Garrett earlier in the clubhouse, he's had to make an adjustment. I mean, he's a guy that's played every single day, and over the last week it's been Ian Stewart starting at third base, who's hitting a lot during the games, trying to stay sharp for later in the game, and also to work the stroke out. He says he feels good. He said his BP has been really good. And hopefully that starts translating to games. Fly ball to center field his first time up, and then that line single to left. Helton at first, nobody out. And Atkins stayed off that delivery, and it's now 3-2. I think some of the process, George, for a hitter begins with identifying the pitch out of the pitcher's hand. Sometimes you get in a slump and you can't identify early.
Well, you hear me say this an awful lot, and it goes back, folks, to the times I spent with everybody.
That's a problem. Lopez not going to get out, and it gets away from Branyan. Helton's going to go to third. First and third, nobody out. It's going to be an infield hit and then an error on Lopez, allowing Helton to go from second to third.
I mean, how was that a whiff? I got to see where this throw ended up going with Branyan over at first base. How the ball got around him. And he ended up not making a play on this because it didn't look like it was very wide. It's just like he totally whiffed on the ball. Wow.
And you know what? Maybe it's not an error on Lopez. I think you're right, George.
Yeah, I mean, they're looking at it downstairs right now, trying to decide who to give that to. I'm not sure Lopez deserved it.
Maybe he threw him a cutter.
He threw him something.
So Brad Hopp up there. Brad, a double and a run scored in the second, struck out swinging in the third. 2 on, nobody out.
Boy, the rain really starting to come down, as you can see on your TV right now. Now, a couple of things happen here. One is the bill of the cap on a hitter will collect and it starts to drip. And you got to constantly keep that clean. The bat gets wiped off. And for pitchers, you deal with the same thing. It's not real sure of your landing foot. And the fact is, it starts to pound on you, I mean, it can have an effect of what you're trying to do. All of that quick dry up, it helps dry it out pretty quick, but you also get the gumminess, the mud in between your cleats.
Brad reaches for one and drives it to Griffey in deep left field. Jr.'s not going to get there. It hits off the wall, stays in play. Atkins stops at third. Helton scores on a double by Brad Hopp, and it's 3-1 Colorado. For Brad, his 47th run batted in. What an extraordinary first half he's having.
Boy, is he ever. Look at the power displayed on the ball down and away. Folks, it tells you how strong he really is when he's able to drop the head of the bat on a pitch down and away from him. And the follow through, Griffey gives chase, recognizes a catch will not be made. And it actually, when that ball bounced off, I thought it may give a chance for Atkins to get to the plate wisely. Nobody out. Give an opportunity to Spilly to drive in a few.
Chance to really get some separation now for the Rockies. That's on the inside corner for a strike. Nobody out. Atkins at third, Hop at second. Spilborghs is 1 for 2. Tulowitzki on deck. This ball line to Lopez, who was kind of playing halfway.
Yeah, Spilly can't hit it any harder than what he just did there.
No, not a ball. You know, George, they looked at that play over and over again downstairs, and they've given the error to Lopez, which is a tough error. But you know what? You look at it, 10 errors for a second baseman is a ton of errors in 2.5 months.
Well, June 14th, you're looking in the middle of their infield with 19 errors now, and at third base, 8 errors. That's a lot for me. This doesn't surprise me in a type of situation here now. 3-1, walk Tulowitzki. 3 out of the last 6 games he has a home run. 5 out of the 6 he's driven in a run. Iannetta a little bit colder bat in the month of June. Go ahead and walk Tulowitzki, set up the double play ball, try to get out of the inning.
Yeah, Iannetta has a couple of grand slams on his resume. He'd love to add to that list. Every time we show the very affable Don Wakamatsu, the skipper of the Seattle Mariners, the last 3 days, he's had that kind of look on his face.
Well, a lot of managers that don't manage in this ballpark very often, or have not managed in this park, they come in and they're just baffled by the way the games and the innings can explode on them so quickly. And they're used to the American League allowing a starter to ride deeper into a ball game, because that's what they do in the American League. A lot of times you might give up 4 runs in the first and pitch 7 innings and win the game 6-4.
And George, Wakamatsu doesn't have anybody throwing down in his bullpen. Here's Iannetta in the 1-0. He's out in front. 1-1. Pulled the string. One out, and the base is full of Rockies. Atkins an infield hit, Hop a double, Tulowitzki the walk. 2-1. I love when Iannetta's up with the bases loaded for 2 reasons. One, he can hit him as far as anybody. Secondly, George, he's not going to get over anxious. If you don't throw him a strike, he'll trot down to first and allow you to walk in a run.
Absolutely, and I think that's why he does drive the ball when you do get it into the strike zone.
Like that. That's a gacker. It could score everybody. The trail run is Tulowitzki. He'll come home easily. Bases clearing double for Iannetta. Make it 6-1 Colorado. Boy, I know that feels good for Chris Iannetta. He's been lamenting the fact that his average not anywhere near where he expects it to be. He hammered this pitch.
No, he did. A down fastball in the middle of the plate on the Hyundai Cam. You can pick it off, and it just allows him to drop the head and use the leverage of that backside to drive the ball out into the gap. One of the deepest parts of the ballpark at Coors Field, and then it's just off to the races. First Atkins, followed by Hop. Coming around Tulowitzki, and this game had gone up in a hurry, and 6-1 now. They're going to try to get their bullpen tarps cleared off and get it going.
You know what Hamill has to come up with now?
Another base hit with an RBI.
His second career RBI. Roy Corcoran throwing. 1-1. Rockies have 11 hits in the ball game, George. 5 doubles, 6 singles.
Well, they've been able to take advantage of one thing that I noticed through this whole entire series, is when the Mariners have walked people. And the other night, Jared Washburn walked 3, all scored. Last night they scored. Today, one of the walks that come around to score, Tulowitzki trying to set up a double play ball. But they've taken advantage when the opposition puts people on base. They've come up with some base hits to do damage with it.
6-1 Rockies here at the bottom of the 5th inning. 2-2 on Hamill, and he gets it in play. Good read by Iannetta. They don't want to cross in front. Hamill retired, and that'll bring up Dexter Fowler. He'll be the 8th man to hit here in what has turned into a 4-run inning. Also, a little weather update, George. You know, it is really dark, and it started to rain. It rained for about a minute, and it's not really raining anymore. Dexter 0 for 2 and a walk.
It just got dark really early. That's all.
Is that what it is?
Yeah. Yeah, the lightning's still out there. A lot of people obviously seeing that. It's always fearful when you stand out on a baseball field.
Or with that 1-iron you carry around in your bag.
See that? Just ask Lee Trevino about that. I think he's been struck 4 times on the golf course. Of course, the question I'd like to ask Lee after the first, why'd you stay out the next 4 times?
He's taking money from somebody.
But that's all right. But I'm going to find someplace to go.
We're off on golf for a second. One of the great lines ever uttered by a golfer, Lee Trevino. He said, "Isn't pressure when he's trying to win a tournament?"
Right.
He said, "Pressure is when you're playing for $50 and you don't have $5 in your pocket." That's what he used to do growing up. This ball's tailed to center field. Way back in the air. He's going to have to field it on the short half. Iannetta has scored. Fowler in the second. Another Colorado Rockies double. It is 7-1. Tacos for everybody tomorrow. 15th RBI for Dexter.
It's been a while for Dexter, too, to drive in a run. You can see the brooms are up with the Rockies on top 7-1. Looking for the sweep on the Hyundai Cam from Vargas. Extension, great extension by Dexter Fowler on a ball in. And it's going to be the end of Vargas after this double off of the wall. Gutierrez gets it in, but not before Iannetta scores. And as Drew said, it's time to eat.
You know what? Right now, Don Wakamatsu, George, is going to get a pitcher who in his previous 6 starts had a .260 ERA. And the Rockies have just beaten him up. Vargas is gone. 7-1 Colorado in the 5th. And Jason Vargas has to sit and watch now. And with 7 runs, tomorrow the place to go between 4 and 6 in the afternoon for a little din-din is Taco Bell. 4 tacos for $1 with the purchase of a drink. And I'm just thinking the Rockies are going to be feeding a lot of folks over the next few weeks at Taco Bell. They're starting to swing the bat. This call to the bullpen brought to you by Comcast. Warm up to unlimited local and long distance. Call 1-800-COMCAST. Roy Corcoran, George, just came up 24 hours ago. The bullpen had gotten beaten up. Injury to Eric Bedard. They were very short. They had to give Brandon Morrow an emergency start. So Corcoran is going to be asked to probably pick up a couple innings here. This will be his 9th game this year.
He came to the big leagues in 03 with Montreal. Back up again in 04, Washington in 06, and then off and on with Seattle in 08. A little bit in 09, pitched in 8 games, struggled, 727 earned run average, so he got the call back up. In Tacoma, he was 1-0 in 3 games, did not give up a run over 3 innings. Been around a while. One of those veteran right-handed guys, kind of bounced between the big leagues and minor leagues, looking for the opportunity to stick. 29 years old.
Clint Barmas single, double, and a strikeout today. Barmas hunting a 300 average. He's at 291. 6 home runs, driven in 30. Pretty fair number of RBIs, George, for a guy that's hitting the 2-hole and hitting the 8-hole primarily.
30 RBIs. It also gives a little credit to the guys out in front of him. And then, a lot of times they go, okay, let's pitch to the second baseman versus maybe going at some of these other guys. And so they go, oh, okay. And they pitch to Barmas. He ends up burning it.
With Barmas at the plate, the Rockies have hit around here in the 5th. Dexter Fowler at second. He just doubled to the wall in center. Inside, and it's 3-2 on Barmas with Todd Helton on deck. Todd got the inning going with a ground ball base hit into the hole between first and second. Ground ball toward Lopez. And he throws out his second base counterpart. In the inning, 9 come to bat, 5 come around and touch home plate. Chris Iannetta, 3-run double, 7-1 Rockies. Inning. And leading it off will be Adrian Beltre, the 3-hole hitter against Jason Hamill, who is well rested. I'm sure he enjoyed that half inning as much as anybody. Beltre a single in the first. He's 1 for 2, and he took a grand slam cut, and there's nobody on.
No, he did on that big yellow hammer. Able to throw it for a strike at 76. Backed it off almost 20 miles an hour off with the fastball on the previous pitch.
Give it to him again. He did.
I tell you what, Beltre is one of those guys. He struggled a little bit at the beginning. I was trying to find his stroke, but lately he has just torn the cover off the baseball. Jim Tracy mentioned the other day what a great defensive third baseman that he was for him when he was in L.A.
Yeah, they had some big bats when he was in L.A., including Sean Green, who was a 40-plus home run guy. And when you'd ask guys around the batting cage, he went around.
Well, and that's why Adrian's pointing so quick down to the first baseline saying, why don't you get some help on it? Gary Darling said, you know what? I don't need any help. And guess what, boys? Somebody just got a phone call.
They're going to pull the tarp.
They're getting them off.
It's about to pour.
Well, there are a lot of things maybe getting ready to happen. We have what they said, large hail, heavy rain, high winds, and a possible tornado. Guess what? I'm going to go eat. Y'all have fun with this. I am not sticking around to get this happen. I'm from Oklahoma. I know what happens. Gary Darling's like, okay, I trust you. Drew, let me help you out. You know, you got all that paperwork and stuff spread out all over the desk everywhere.
Move it.
Put it underneath.
Probably a good idea.
Yeah.
We had a tornado warning during batting practice yesterday. That's why both teams hit underneath. I can't remember back-to-back days at the stadium where they're tornado watch. In fact, to be honest, I only remember a couple other times where they put that language up on the big screen video board.
Letting the fans know all about it. It's right out on the middle of the video till 3:30.
Which is a little more than a half hour.
35 minutes to clear this thing out.
Well, the good news is the Rockies are ahead 7-1 in this ball game, and it is official as there's one out, nobody on for the Mariners in the 6th inning. While we step aside for a while, we will take you to amazing sports stories. Again, the Rockies leading 7-1 in the 6th inning, trying to make it 11 straight wins. They seem to be well on their way.
When Fogg takes the mound, and of course Fogg has a little history with Seattle. And if you think back to it, the one ball game he threw in under 2 hours. Remember the ball game in Seattle? He was outstanding. 9-inning complete game, 1-hitter. And won the ball game. Of course, some of those guys aren't on this club. A lot of them have been traded and gone. But Fogg, the right guy to come on and try to finish this with a 6-run lead.
Official delay 55 minutes. In that ball game that George is alluding to, he faced the minimum 27 hitters in a 2-hitter. Fogg misses on his first 3 deliveries to Jose Lopez. Lopez a sac fly in the first. That's how Seattle got their 1 run. That's in there. Now this is a perfect man for this situation, and I'm sure in Jim Tracy's mind, with a 6-run lead, this ball up the middle to Tulowitzki with range, and he gets Lopez. Got just enough on the baseball to throw out Lopez. Great range displayed to his left by Troy Tulowitzki.
Well, and again, this is a guy we've watched go glove side. We've seen him go into the hole and make plays. Here he's just off balance throw and exchange. Kind of air-mailed it over to Helton, but because of the speed of Lopez and the quickness of the arm, you're able to get him at first base. Well, the reason I like this, Fogg is a guy that's been stretched out down at AAA, so he can almost, if it goes clean, could almost finish this ball game for you, pick up a save the bullpen for another day and an off day tomorrow.
Well, again, in Jim Tracy's mind, if he can pick up the last
3 2/3 innings.
3 2/3,
yeah,
that'd be a beautiful thing. Junior with a 1-1 count. Just got an update from the press box. Remember that error, George, that was given to Jose Lopez on the flip to first? It looked like Branyan just somehow missed the baseball.
Worked on it. Yep. Hopefully it went over to Branyan.
Yeah, they did. They just changed it. And it's now on Russell Branyan, which is the right call.
Yep.
He's on the ball hit by Atkins, so it's a base hit and an error on Branyan inside. 2-2.
Here's the play that Drew's talking about. It's going to be an infield single off the bat of Atkins. He gets jammed on a ball inside, missed by Vargas, and a bare hand flip over. And again, Branyan just whiffed on it.
Two and 2 on Junior. Changeup. 3-2. Junior getting back-to-back starts in the outfield. They've been running around looking for a glove, George.
Yeah, he and Fogg were teammates over in Cincinnati. Junior got moved on. It'll be a 2-out walk to Ken Griffey Jr.
Yuniesky Betancourt will come up. He's lined to short and grounded to short. Take a look at our Affleck trivia question. We asked this about an hour and a half ago, but we have to give you an answer now after the rain delay. Junior was Seattle's #1 pick in '87. He was the first pick overall. The only other time they had a #1 pick, they took kid out of Miami, A-Rod.
Turned out pretty good, didn't he?
Well, 2 future Hall of Famers.
Did you ever find out if Johan Santana started that game for the
He
Mets
did.
today?
He went 3 innings. He
Wow.
gave up 9 earned runs, the most runs he's ever given up in a Major League Baseball game.
15-0, the Yankees.
That
won
had some
ball game.
interesting things. We just looking at some video before the game started. Both teams were out on the field. I guess K-Rod went up to Brian Bruni. Now, Brian Bruni works out of the bullpen for the Yankees. former Arizona Diamondback. K-Rod, the closer for the Mets. They had to be separated before the ball game out in the outfield. He's a 2-0. That's in there, 2-1. The Rockies have become, over the last 3 years, the best team in interleague play in the National League. This is on the ground toward Garrett Atkins. He'll go the short way, and the Rockies will head to the dugout and try to pad that 6-run lead. To the bottom of the 6th we go, 7-1 Colorado. Time for the Coors Light freeze can. That catch by Dexter Fowler. That was huge at the time. Would have scored Ichiro Suzuki from first base. Seems like once every couple of days, Dexter makes a play where you say, you know what? I don't know how many center fielders could make that play. Todd Helton's 2 for 3. Got an RBI today, his 45th. And this ball is sliced down the line. Foul. Roy Corcoran had come into the ball game in the 5th inning to get the final out. We got Barmes on a 3-2 pitch to ground to second. So he has not been removed. He hadn't been out there that long.
Well, and again, you didn't have a 40-minute delay. Really doesn't bother you that much as a reliever. But the amount of pitches that Jason had thrown Hamill, there wasn't a reason to run him back out there again. So, you know, for Cochran, he's a guy that he warmed up down in the bullpen, came in and got the out, went to the dugout. He probably had 15, 20 pitches. He has 8 total now than whatever it took to warm up down in the bullpen. Well, next Dollar Hot Dog Night, it's June 16th when the Tampa Bay Devil Rays are in town. The first 10,000 receive a coupon for $1 hot dog, courtesy of Hebrew National. Purchase tickets at one of the Rockies ticket outlet or just go online at ColoradoRockies.com.
3 balls and a strike on Helt. Todd with the 2 for 3 day has the average at .315. And a walk to Helt. This date in history is brought to you by Dex. Dex knows. And here is what Dex knows. June 14th, 4 years ago, Ichiro became the 3rd player since 1900 to reach 1,000 hits in fewer than 700 games. He did it in his 696 game. And really during the modern era, he's it. Chuck Klein did it in 33, 633 games. Lloyd Wainer did it in 686 games. Both of those gentlemen in the Hall of Fame in Cooperstown. Garrett Atkins is 2 for 3 as well. 10-game winning streaks in Major League Baseball are hard to come by. In fact, even though the man in the Rockies dugout, Jim Tracy, this ball's fouled off, has had some very good teams in Los Angeles, won a division title in 2004. He's never experienced a team, been a skipper of a team that's won 10 in a row. He was talking about that earlier. And the Red Sox earlier this year had an 11-game streak. Rockies could match it today, and they're in good shape, up 7-1. Tell you something else about this streak right now. After this pitch, 2-2 on Atkins. Helton at first, nobody out. And another base hit for Gay. You know what? That swing's coming back, George.
Well, the average now is setting at 200 prior to that at bat. Yeah, he's getting some pitches to hit, responding with some pretty hard hit balls. This third one today, one of those in infield, the other a line drive, much like this one on the Hyundai Camp. Rock back, good set, good extension, everything balanced at the plate. The head stayed on the baseball, and a good result.
So the Rockies trying to pick up where they left off in the 5th inning when they scored 5 times. Yeah, Rockies trying to match the number on Brad's back. That pitch in there for a strike. Anyhow, about this streak, they're only the 2nd team in the last 5 years, or the Rockies, to have a 10-game winning streak, beginning with the team at the time that was more than 10 games under 500. You hear good teams going on streaks, but the Rockies were not a very good team. They were 12 under when they began this streak, and if they can hang on today, they will be within a game of 500, which for a baseball player, especially as you start to move into the summer, you always feel like you have a chance when you're around 500 to be a postseason team.
Well, you know, that's one number, Drew, and the other number that you look at too, and I always believe this at the All-Star break, if you're at 10 or less, you got a chance to get back into it. And regardless, because we've seen some bad divisions that come out and guys win and they're 3 or 4 games over 500. And I think that's the key for me, is where are you at the All-Star break? How many are you down from your leaders? And the Dodgers are still playing good baseball. They lead 6-3 in the 9th in Texas.
This ball is hit to second, and Betancourt completes a double play. Helton to third. And Miguel Batista, who we saw earlier in this series, is getting loose. Tell you something else that works in the Rockies' favor, at least should, when you talk about history. Rockies have always played very well at Coors Field. They have played just 24 games coming into today this year at Coors Field. Now they started out slowly here, 10-14 after the win last night. They've played 37 road games. That's 3 more than anybody else in baseball.
Well, the home and road batting average, you can see the difference here. The road record, what I'm looking at is an earned run average of 3.85. That's the biggest difference for me between the two. And 5+ here at home, and that's going to drop as this game's completed today if the Rockies are able to just give up the 1 run.
And Spilly chops it foul. It's 2-1. Last time we showed you a picture of the sky, it was much darker than that. Helton at third, 2 outs. Rockies up 7-1. 2-2 on Spilborghs, 1 for 3. Line to second his last time up. Rockies doing damage against the Mariners, who had the #1 ERA among all American League teams entering play today. 368. To third, Beltre. See, George, he thought about doing a 360 and they said, nah, you know what, I'll just plant. open up and throw them out. 7-1 Colorado. Rockies fans buy or sell tickets on StubHub, official fan-to-fan ticket marketplace. So the Rockies by Burke Toyota, where the 09 Tacoma is under $24,000. And by Big Brothers Big Sisters, donate your car to Big Brothers Big Sisters. You'll get a free tow and tax break, and you'll help change a kid's life. That is a foul ball.
Well, on the Hyundai cam, you want a little kitchen-matic. That's what happened here. Got right in on the hand, shattered this back completely in half. Splinters going everywhere on the Hyundai cam. He'll go get some new lumber and give it another shot on a 1-1 count against Josh Fogg.
There's our man Michael, a bad boy for Seattle today. Picking up the lumber. 1 ball, 1 strike on Quiros, and he takes low from Josh Fogg, 2-1. Three and 1. Seattle has glowing numbers from a pitching standpoint. First in ERA, as we mentioned. Careful now. Don't hurt yourself.
Yeah, part of that's the job of the catchers, knowing the opposition, making the call, and then a pitcher executing just what Drew's talking about.
The contrast, though, is offensively, George. They're last in runs scored in the American League, 11th in home runs, last in on-base percentage. Another broken bat. What a costly AB for Quiros. He's gone. That'll bring up Franklin Gutierrez. Well, the Rockies welcome back with open arms today. A lot of hugs. Yorvi Torrealba. He is not active yet, but he's back with the club. And tell you what, there wasn't a guy in the clubhouse or anybody affiliated with the Rockies that did not give him a big bear hug when they saw Yorvi earlier. And he held a press conference this morning. Talked about the ordeal he has been through over the last several days. His son and his uncle and brother-in-law doing very, very well. We'll hear from Yorvi in a moment.
For 3 days I couldn't sleep. I couldn't really not even drink water because I felt like I just want to, you know, I mean, like I don't even know. I mean, I don't even know how to explain my feelings. Was really sad. I mean, I picture my son in my mind like probably her dead, and that's something that was like, I mean, felt like in my hands was tight. I couldn't do anything. And that's funny now. Like I said, out of so many movies that you watch, you want to be one of those guys on the movie and just kill everybody, because that's how it was.
Understandable emotions for your Vitor Alba. Unfortunately, his son is doing very, very well. He's here with him. Thankfully, that is now in the rearview mirror. This is Vladimir Ballantyne pinch hitting for Corcoran. 1-1. Torrealba will go out in the near future. When we say go out, go to a minor league affiliate to get some games in, get sharp again.
Fogg doing a nice job early on. He was getting behind hitters a little bit. Now he's starting to work ahead of hitters, getting the ground ball out. It's the broken bat in the 7th inning. With his club leading 7-1.
Here's the 2-2 on Ballantyne. He fouls it off. Seattle will have an off day tomorrow in San Diego. Nice place to have an off day. They'll play the Padres a 3-game set. Then they'll go home. They'll play the Diamondbacks. Rockies off day tomorrow. Tampa comes a calling on Tuesday. If the Rockies hold on, George, they'll go to 5-1 in interleague play this year. Lost the first ball game in interleague play at Detroit a few weeks ago. Then took 2 of 3 there against a team at the time currently leading the American League Central.
Well, there's no doubt about it. This ball club has played great baseball under Jim Tracy. Starting to believe and win in the games that they've had abilities to win. The bullpen has performed. The rotation has performed. Defensively, they've been outstanding. And it hadn't just been just long balls. I mean, anytime you have an earned run average under 250 through your starters and bullpen, you expect to have success.
Jason Hamill kept the ball rolling today. You know, he gets the win, which he should. He'll have won 3 ball games in this stretch. Good crowds all weekend long, more than 30,000 each day. This is in the air right center field. Dexter calling for it, and he'll make the catch. 1-2-3 inning for Josh Fogg in the 7th. We're going to stick around here not only for the 7th inning stretch, but for God Bless America. And it'll be performed today by the Greeley Philharmonic. Rockies up 7-1, bottom of the 7th inning. Time to get you up to speed with the AT Rapid Rewind. AT&T, the nation's fastest 3G network. AT&T, your world delivered. Miguel Batista is now on the mound, and Troy Tulowitzki is at the plate. Troy is 0 for 1 officially. He had a sac fly in the second, an intentional walk, and a run scored in the 5th. This call to the pen brought to you by Comcast Digital Home Phone Service. Warm up to unlimited local and long distance. On the ground to third. Call 1-800-COMCAST.
Well, Batista, the former starter of the Arizona Diamondbacks, a guy that has good slider, good sink. Can give you some extended innings. In 22 games this year, he's pitched very well. 3-1, 29 1/3.
Well, just got the attendance, George. How about this? 38,614. Close to 40,000 in the house this afternoon. Rockies looking to make it 11 in a row. Today's big hit of the week is brought to you by Mako. Happened earlier. Bases loaded. Rockies leading 3-1. And Chris Iannetta clears the bases. Iannetta got a hanging hook there, and he popped it up. Jose Lopez makes the catch. 2 outs.
Omar Quintanilla is going to hit.
Yeah.
Yep. Ball gave him 2 good innings. Thought he might be able to lead up the rest of this ball game, but they got a couple of double-barreled action. Embry's going out there, Peralta the other. And Omar Quintanilla this year pinch hitting 1 for 7.
And Peralta and Embry have not appeared yet in this series. And tomorrow's a day off, so again, Jim Tracy kind of outlines the rest of this ball game the next couple of days. He can have his entire pen well rested for Tuesday, and then have guys sharp because they have not been in a game in a week.
Well, you always try to get a little bit of work in when you can pick your spots, but first and foremost, you try to win the ball game first, and I think that's something that Jim Tracy has done with his bullpen. Everybody's designed spots of when you're going to come in, not afraid to use certain guys, certain situation. Quintanilla will pop it up to the shortstop, Bettencourt. The Rockies lead this one 7-1.
After the off day tomorrow, Tampa Bay comes to town. Rockies will get a chance to see David Price, former #1 pick in the draft out of Vanderbilt. And then the Pirates come in next weekend. That will conclude the 9-game homestand for Colorado. Omar Quintanilla, who pinch hit for Josh Fogg, stays in the ball game. Garrett Atkins comes out. Alan Embry will throw the 8th inning.
Well, you try to set it up when you're going to, you mentioned trying to keep a guy sharp. And this is the way to do it. 2 left-handers. You have Ichiro to lead off the inning, Branyan right behind him. So it does give you that opportunity to do a more game-tight situation with facing the left-hander.
Fogg goes an inning and 2/3 and did not give up a hit. He walked 1. That was it. So good job for Josh Fogg. Ichiro, Branyan, and Beltre. Ichiro's thrown out a couple more hits. This ball is hit to deep right center field and at the track in front of the wall. Hop pulls it in. Nice running catch by Brad Hop.
Yeah, no question about it. Getting a good jump on the baseball off the bat of Ichiro. You didn't see him run much there. He stayed on a little longer. Hop knowing exactly where he is at Coors Field, able to get back, make the catch on this baseball. A little bit of a semi-leap. 1 out here in the 8th.
Russell Branyan's 0 for 3. He was robbed of at least a double his last time up by Dexter Fowler. The last hit in the ball game for Seattle was Ichiro's in the 5th, and that's the only hit they have since the 2nd inning. Jason Hamill was terrific today. 0-2. He went 5 1/3, and then he couldn't come back after the rain/tornado delay.
Now, that's pretty standard too with a starting pitcher, though, not to do that.
Yeah, that deep into the ball game. 5 1/3, allowed a run on 5 hits, didn't walk a batter, struck out 6. 0-2 on Branyan. See you later. Oh, I thought Iannetta was able to hold it, popped out, so he remains 0-2, and Branyan stays at the plate. Before April 24th, when when Hamill started, the Rockies were 1-7 in 31 1/3 innings. He allowed 45 hits. His ERA was 4.60. High in the air to right field. Hop waiting for it. He makes the catch. I'll continue that story in a moment, but we want to check tonight's high-speed pitch brought to you by Quest high-speed internet. So that's oh, okay. Vargas at 88 was the hardest pitch he threw. Actually, the in-house gun, they had him at 90 on a couple, but Hamill at 93. So there you go, your Quest high-speed pitch tracker. There's Vargas. He's on the south side. Adrian Beltre, and the slider spun around. But since that time, we're talking about Hamill. First 31 1/3, George gives up 45 hits. His last 28 innings, he's allowed 28 hits. His ERA is down almost a 1.5 from 4.60. And the club is 4-0 pending the outcome of today. They could go to 5-0.
Now, that's what you always think about. First and foremost is not your record, not what you do on the mound, but what you did to give your team an opportunity to win. And he's done that.
Here's the 2-0 on Beltre, and he didn't get the fastball at 93. And Seattle from the Pacific Northwest. Alan Embry grew up in the Pacific Northwest and still lives up in the Oregon area.
Thinking about this, Father's Day coming up next Sunday, there's going to be a really neat deal. Come to the ballpark June 21st. See the Pirates take on the Rockies, and the first 20,000 fans through the gates, they'll receive a baseball cap courtesy of Furniture Row Shopping Centers. So purchase your tickets to this game at the Rockies ticket outlet, or go online to ColoradoRockies.com. Father's Day cap giveaway to the first 20,000.
Tulowitzki will call off Quintanilla, and it's a 1-2-3 inning for Allen Embry in the 8th. All is well. The Rockies up 7-1. Batista, and that's inside, well inside. Ball 1. Dexter is 1 for 3 and a walk. He had an RBI double in that 4-run, check it 5-run 5th inning. Batista in his 2nd inning of work, worked a 1-2-3 7th. Rockies trying to win 11 in a row. That would be a first for Jim Tracy. He had a 10-game winning streak with the Dodgers in 03 when he was their skipper.
Yeah, and he had the rotation of Kevin Brown, Darren Dreifort out of Wichita State. We had Hideo Nomo, Ishii, and Odalis Perez.
Kaz Ishii. This ball is on a 1-hop to Lopez. And he throws out Dexter Fowler. 1 out. That'll bring up Clint Barmas. Let's check in again with Mark Stott with this afternoon's Mike Shaw Auto Update.
All right, thank you very much, Drew. It appears, unless something changes dramatically, we're not going to see David Aardsma, Seattle's closer, who is a Cherry Creek High School grad. And I talked to him about his career at Cherry Creek. You know, they've got 5 baseball teams at Cherry Creek, 2 freshman teams, a sophomore team, JV and varsity. He was on the freshman B team, if you will. They've got a Royal team and a Scarlet team, and he was on the Scarlet team, the B team. And as a sophomore, that's when he started pitching. He didn't make JV that year. I also spoke to Mark Johnson, the head baseball coach at Cherry Creek. He said, you know, we didn't really think that he was going to blossom like he did. And then finally, in his senior year, he really took off, went to Rice University, where he holds the record for saves there. But Aardsma, great guy. Talked to him. He wanted to say hello to all his fans here in Colorado. But good thing we're not going to see him pitch for Seattle, guys.
Well, you know what? He's warming up in the bullpen.
Is he?
So yeah, so we may see him. I don't
Maybe.
know.
There's
I
one
doubt
out,
it.
one
There's
out in the eighth. Yeah,
probably not. But
pretty good bullpen coach right there that you can see. John Wetland, the guy that was a very good closer for the New York Yankees prior to Mariano Rivera.
I would say it's very doubtful, though, Mark. But thanks for that update on Arzma. For all the kids out there that aspire to be big leaguers, never give up hope. You know, there's another guy with a similar story who's a pretty good closer. He's struggling a little bit right now, but Brad Lidge, George, he was an outfielder, didn't play much his junior year, and he became a pitcher his senior year and ended up at Notre Dame, becoming a #1 pick.
Well,
but he didn't play at Creek either.
Well, you know, the thing, and again, it's just personal experiences. I was cut 3 years in a row from my high school baseball team. So, I mean, there's guys out there that play summer baseball, continue their career somehow, get better. One thing, an old scout, good friend of mine, once told me, players get better. And I think that's the guys that want to work to get better. There's a lot of guys that are really good at a young age, and they kind of peak out growth-wise, ability-wise, in the 7th, 8th, 9th grade, 10th grade, and all of a sudden they just kind of level out. And these guys that were shorter, not as fast, not as strong, all of a sudden they just kind of blossom into players at sophomore, junior, and senior year.
1-1 on Todd. Check swing fouled off. Here's something else about Arzma. He ended up at Rice University, but he went to Happy Valley first. He went to Penn State, and he said, you know, I loved it there. It's a great football school. He said baseball's kind of took a real back seat. He wanted a better baseball atmosphere. And this will be another base hit for Todd. So he transferred to Rice. Pitcher spot is due up next after Garrett Atkins came out of the ball game in a double switch last inning. So the Rockies will go to their bench, and it'll be Seth Smith. A reminder that if you have a windshield that's in need of fixing, call Elite Safe Light Auto Glass, 303-287-5000, online at safelight.com.
Well, you know, the new rules now really make it kind of difficult, as Drew introduced Seth Smith coming on a pinch hit. The new rule states now, used to be if you could get a release from your previous Division I school, you could transfer to another Division I and play immediately. Now you must sit a year to make that transfer. So there's a big influx of kids that have spent 2 years at a school, get disenchanted, or a year at the school, maybe a redshirt year. They're going to the junior colleges, or they're going over, it's fly ball to left field, if you handle it, or they're going down to Division II. So their talent is rising at that Division II and NAI level.
We'll go to the ninth. The Rockies up 6 runs. Rockies up 7-1, 3 outs for making it 11 consecutive victories. And the post-game report, as always, will be handled by that man, Tom Helmer. Tom?
After the game, of course, we'll get into the clubhouse here what the team thinks about this winning streak. Also, Arm Hamel. We'll talk about Jason Hamel and this pitching staff. Another tremendous job today. And extra credit. A lot of extra base hits today. We'll break that down for you as well. Drew, it's all coming up right after the ball game.
All right, we will look forward to that, Todd. Thank you. But first, we will see Joel Peralta looking for outs 25, 26, and 27. Jose Lopez will lead it off. Lopez today, a sac fly. 0 for 2. After the sac fly in the first. Peralta, George, has been a very pleasant surprise for the Rockies. That's a base hit to right.
Well, he has been, because he pounds the strike zone. A guy that's kind of bounced around with 2 or 3 organizations, back and forth between the big leagues, minor leagues. The stuff doesn't wow you a lot. I mean, coming out of the bullpen, you're not going to see 95, 96, but you're going to see a strike throw over 3 pitches, a split finger, outstanding. 8 in the 3rd innings, just 3 walks, 9 strikeouts over 7-game span. Very unfazed by what goes on in a game. Run him out into any situation you want. That base hit, the first given up by a Rockies reliever at 3 innings.
Ken Griffey Jr. 0 for 2 and a walk without a hit in this series. Pinch hit Friday night, started last night. And he pops this up foul and out of play. Quintanilla will give it a look, but it's well back. You know, for many of these fans, who knows if they'll get to see Ken Griffey Jr. again in person. Jr. in the offseason will turn 40.
Well, for him, I think it's a matter of the desire to want to just play the game. He has a tremendous amount of accomplishments right now. So, I mean, does he want to continue? What's he want to do in a game of baseball? Or does he want to go back and watch his son, who you mentioned yesterday, sophomore, going to be a junior, play football, raise the kids? His daughter's a good hooper. So, I mean, you know, as a basketball player. So it comes down to how much more do I want to add to my Hall of Fame career, or go to the team that has a chance to win a World Series.
2-2. You know, if I understood, you know, we were talking yesterday, if I understood what he told me correctly, and Trey, his son, who's in the dugout, was sitting right there. I think Trey's going to be a sophomore.
He's going to be a sophomore?
But it's amazing, because he's a big kid, and he looks exactly like Dad. He obviously has Dad's athletic ability. This ball high in the air to right field. Hop is going to run it away and make the catch. Well done by Brad. 1 out. It's time for our job done right player of the series. How about the starting pitchers? They're going to end up with, in all likelihood, 2 wins in the series, because Hamel's in line to win this one. A smallish ERA. They just keep getting it done. Jason Marquis could have very easily earned a win yesterday. He gave up a run in 7 innings. Our job done right player of the series, presented by the Colorado Association of Mechanical and Plumbing Contractors. To have your next building or service project done right the first time. Line drive. Let it hit. And that's a double play. That's your ball game. The Rockies have won 11 straight, matching their franchise best, set in that magical September of 2007. 11 straight wins for the Rockies.